Hello, Renaissance family. Welcome back to this is our final happy hour of the 24-25 school year. Can't believe that, man. But hey, if you found us on Facebook or YouTube, we'd like to welcome you to this unbelievable network of educators who are absolutely on fire, transforming the climate and culture in their schools. So if you have any questions, feel to chat those as we go. But also share this with your fellow educators. There'll be a recording, on-demand recording of this available on jostensrenaissance.com under the events tab. So I'm John Rowe, lifelong educator, member of the Jostens Renaissance education team, and I'm a Renaissance School Mark consultant. I got a guy next to me, my buddy and co-host, Dr. Philip Campbell. PC, you're here tonight. What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
What's up, John? How are you, man? I am in sunny California as we speak. I'm out in LA. We have a big event happening tomorrow here. Chaparral Academy of Technology. They're going to do their unveiling of their Epic School revamp. And so we're super, super excited about that, and just the reactions that we're going to get to see on the faces of those kids and of the staff members and of the community. I know there's going to be a lot of community members there as well. And so it's going to be a super fun day, super high energy day. And like I said, just looking forward to seeing all the amazing changes that Jostens has helped to spearhead and going to make there on that campus.
That's awesome. As we wrap up this year, I mean, it's been an unbelievable year, and people, educators and education gets a bad rap. And I was down in Tampa last week, George S. Middleton High School. If they're on, I got to give them a shout out. They're killing it. The schools. I get to read some of these school distinction apps. Schools are absolutely crushing it. Educators are absolutely on fire, and I know you see the same thing, man. Don't you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's great things that happen on every campus every single day, right? And it's something that, we talk about it all the time, and we share this with educators, is that we have to do a better job of telling those stories of those great things, those amazing things, those amazing people that are doing those great things every single day. Because, yeah, you see it when you travel. I see it when I travel. We see it on social media every single day as well. And it's just fun. It's special. And just to be able to help to shine the light on that positivity and those amazing people. I think that's what we do, and that's what it's all about here at Jostens.
Absolutely. Hey, you got something behind you. You got a little event going on this summer?
We got a little event right around the corner, man. And as you know, we're in full throttle go mode on this thing, and it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work too. The Jostens Renaissance Global Conference. I always say it's the single greatest educational conference on the planet, and it's not even close. Coming up in late June, in beautiful and sunny San Diego, California.
Wow.
I think that the latest that I know that we're close to 1,500, maybe over 1,500 registered by now with student leaders and educators. Beautiful, brand new, state-of-the-art resort. Super excited to get out there, obviously for the conference, but then there's some pretty darn good food out there in San Diego too, man. So looking forward to that, John. I'll have to show you around a couple of my favorite spots while we're out there.
Love that. And they get to hang out with you and me. I mean, come on, what's better than that?
That's right, man. Ain't life grand?
That's for sure. All right. Hey, we have a great topic tonight. Recognition or reward strategy, Renaissance cards. Renaissance has been around a long time, over 30 years. This is one of the original strategies. This is kind of how it all started with this whole card system. I know, before you were born, 20 years ago at Hudsonville High School, when I started, we started Renaissance, and we started with Renaissance cards, and it was a little tricky at first. Our kids didn't get it for a while. Now it's ingrained in the culture, and full disclosure, it's a little bit of work to get the system going, but it's so useful. I know you got it at your school, right? You had it with you.
Yeah, so the way that we set it up was we had 4 different tiers or 4 different cards that our students could qualify for, and they were based on our school colors. But we had all A's and B's, perfect attendance with no discipline issues, or if you improved your GPA by 0.5 points from one semester to the next. And to me, that was the big tier, John, because that way everybody has the chance to qualify, not just the upper level academic kids, right? And if a kid goes from making straight F's one semester to straight D's the next semester, nowhere near where we want them to be. I get it, but that's a big improvement for that young man or that young woman. They're going to qualify for Renaissance, and I'm betting my money that if I can get them in there for that one semester, I'm going to be able to hook them, and they're going to want more.
Absolutely. That was my favorite. We did the same thing, the 0.5 GPA improvement. That was my absolute favorite time when we could celebrate those kids for improving. And how else can you do it? There's just no great way to do it. But the card system was a phenomenal way. Those kids felt a part of it. They felt part of the family. Just to be recognized for that, it was just a game changer. But guess what? They don't want to hear us. We got a superstar with us. Let's see. We got our guest educator tonight coming from Stratford High School in South Carolina. She's going to talk about Renaissance cards with us. Renaissance Hall of Famer, Renaissance champion, my friend Meg Ward. Welcome to the stage, Meg Ward. Woohoo! All right. How's it going? Meg is muted. She is new to this technology.
I'm great. I'm doing great. Happy Monday.
Yeah,
What's up, Meg?
love Mondays, apparently, looks like. You love Mondays.
I do love Mondays.
All right. Well, let's get right into it. Tell us a little bit about your Renaissance card system that you got rolling down there in Stratford.
So yes, one of the very first things I ever heard about when I started with Renaissance was the card system. And I remember we tried to figure out, how to make it work, and we've tried a couple different ways. And but I agree with you. You said it takes a little bit to get it going, to get the kids to buy into it. We have used it now pretty solidly in the way that we are using it for about 4 or 5 years. So the kids know what those are, but also our feeder schools are now using a card system.
Nice.
And so that has happened within the last couple of years. And that's going to be a big game changer too, because that's going to be something that the kids coming into our schools are already aware of, which is going to make a big difference for us as well.
That's
so
awesome.
We also have the 4 colors, school colors. Ours are, I don't know, I feel like ours are pretty basic in terms of what we're looking at, but we call them bag tags, BAG. Forever and ever, we have said success is in the bag, and B is for behavior, A is for attendance, and G is for grades. And so we're looking at all 3 parts of that. And so we call those bag tags, and there is like an A level, and we do it based on their average, A average, B average, C average, D average. And the attendance is incorporated. There's an attendance level that we're trying to get them to reach to keep them from, FA in their classes, trying to keep them on track with attendance. And then, of course, we want good behavior, no ISS or OSS. So those are pretty standard across. And then the colors are just going to be their levels based on the average.
Awesome.
So.
We're going to have questions as we go. And if it's relevant, I'm going to shoot it to you if you're okay with that.
Sure.
So you talked a little bit about your feeder. The question, and I have a question about that as well. Someone asked, are you talking about middle school or elementary?
So currently they're in at least 2 of our feeder middle schools. The 2 schools, well, we have 4 schools that feed into us, but the 2 feeder schools that are using them have started using them within the last, I want to say within the last year. And so that is in our middle schools. I don't think we have any kind of card systems in our elementary schools. A lot of our elementary schools were using house systems. So I don't think they're using any cards though.
When they get a card at the middle school, does anything carry over to high school, or do they start fresh?
They start fresh. We actually start everybody fresh on that first quarter. Everybody gets a starter card is what we call it. So everybody gets a little taste of what that's all about. And it'll have the requirements on the back on how to earn the next card that's coming. So that very first quarter, everybody starts with a clean slate, and then they earn the ones for the last 3 quarters.
I love that so much, and I love the integration, at all three levels if it's possible. I know Mike Huff just chimed in. He's not far away from me at Philip Simmons, and they use a card system there in the elementary schools. I know that John, one of our good friends, Marnie, they have their middle school is rocking and rolling along with the high school. And I just love that so much because then it's not brand new when they come to you that freshman year, right? Oh, I already know what Renaissance is. And that's something that's a good thing. And I want to be a part of that. I want to be associated with that. And so for you, Meg, in your district, for those middle schools that are rocking and rolling with it, is that something like, did you help with that getting started there, or how did that take place?
So one of our APs that was with me last year, Miss Harrop, I'll give her a little shout out there, was moved to our feeder middle school across the street. And so she was very actively involved with all the things that we did for Renaissance and wanted to carry that into the middle school. And so she was the one who got those started over at College Park Middle.
I love that.
And I will say I will get a little shout out about the feeder programs. One of the biggest changes I think we have seen in the last several years is that for a long time, it was just our high schools that had Renaissance. And then our middle schools started adding Renaissance. And now our elementary schools are doing Renaissance. And so at least where I am, my feeder programs, we have Renaissance all the way through in many or most of our elementary, middle, and high school. And that is, I'm excited to see over the next several years, the actual changes, like you said, about students coming from Renaissance schools into a Renaissance school is going to make a huge difference.
That's awesome. When you started this, how did you get to where you said we want to implement cards? What was the decision making that kind of got you there?
Gosh, that's been a while. I feel like we just wanted to give students something, sort of that incentive, something to work towards. We obviously, you're recognizing kids, you're doing things, you're rewarding them. But this was something that they could individually really strive to work towards. And I do know when we first started, we did do like an improvement card. And this kind of setup that we have right now, we don't have the improvement piece tied into the bag tags. But we just wanted something that kids could work towards and strive and hopefully kind of push themselves higher and higher. Academically, behaviorally, kind of attendance really is our biggest. I don't know if that's the way it is everywhere. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's pretty standard coming out of COVID that attendance seems to be the biggest challenge that we face. Mm-hmm. That most of the kids who get disqualified, I guess, for bag tags, it's because of attendance. Attendance is the kicker. And so we have been talking through this past year of ways that we can, maybe we're too tight on our attendance requirement. Do we need to find a different approach in how we recognize our kids for attendance? Because that has been a big struggle, is how to get kids to make being present is important, and making that priority is to show up to school. You can do a lot, you can be really successful, but you got to show up to school. Absolutely. And so the attendance piece is still a challenge for us.
Yeah. I think there's something to the cars where it's earned. Every kid that walks in your campus has an opportunity to earn it. It's not a select few that are chosen or a student of the month that's chosen. It's everybody can earn it. Obviously, yes. They don't all earn it, but they all have an opportunity to.
Right.
What's our guy Stand Tall Steve's line? You get it when you don't get it.
That's right. And we've been we're about, I want to say, this is not a perfect setup. Mm-hmm. We're not hitting 100%. We're not getting every single kid, but we're getting kids who are really trying to improve, who are really trying to work towards that, you'll hear kids say, "Oh man, I didn't get one. Miss Ward, can you check my information again? Because I really feel like I should have gotten one," and then it gives me the opportunity to have conversations and teachers to have conversations with students about why behavior, attendance, and grades all together are really important. And why, you have to come to school so many days, and why we need you not to end up in ISS and OSS, and, work hard.
Meg, I'd love to hear about the distribution system. I know you're in a pretty good sized high school there. The way that we did it, I used stickers, and they would go on the back of their student ID badge, right? And we would distribute those at the end of our Renaissance rally. We would do one in the fall and one in the spring. And so then when the rally was over, they would get in the line, they would get their stickers in. Talk about your distribution system. How did the kids go about actually getting the physical cards in their hands?
So John mentioned earlier, there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes for this distribution. And I'll be honest, it can be, a beast of a job. Identifying the kids to me is the hardest part, because we do have the behavior, the attendance, and the grades, all together. So I have to merge all of that data together to figure out, we have, 2,600 kids. I have to figure out how many of those kids actually qualify. Then you have to decide which level they are in. And then we have to figure out how to get those out. So I remember when we started, we printed on cardstock because we didn't have any money. So we just printed on whatever color cardstock we had. I think we had green bag tags, blue bag tags, whatever the color cardstock was. Now I get business cards printed at Office Depot. And so in my opinion, it's a nicer card, with hopes that kids will treat it as a nicer incentive. And then on the very first one I mentioned, everybody gets that card. So on the back of the first one, we actually have the requirements printed so that everybody has a copy of that. After that, though, I slap a label on the back, do a nice little mail merge, which I've gotten really good at, and then get those labels put on the back of the cards. And we just have the leadership class deliver those to the teachers and ask the teachers to distribute those in their classes. So then the kids get them. We do something similar. So the kids who get the second bag tag, so everybody gets the first one. The kids who earn the very first bag tag that they can earn are also invited to the fall Renaissance rally. And we do our rallies different. That's a whole nother discussion. But with our school, our size, our facilities, we have a fall rally, and then we have a spring rally, the same. So there's a third quarter in there where there's not a rally. And so the rewards on there, not that they're different, but we just kind of hype things up a little bit differently during that quarter. But distribution can be a challenge, because you're, asking teachers to pass those out. Kids are absent, they get lost, all the good stuff. But that has seemed to be working for us over the last couple of distributions pretty well, as we just go around during third block and make sure every teacher gets the tags to hand out to the kids.
Yeah. Are you the one that does the figuring out who qualifies?
So I don't run the actual report, but I am part of there's one or two of us that put it all together and do the Excel data sheet and all that kind of good stuff. I've also gotten pretty good at Excel.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I was my job, but it was about a 2-day process to figure out. We have a big high school, and someone taught me Excel and downloading we use Power School, and
that's what we have.
We actually got it figured out pretty good, but it's a lot. It is.
And we've gotten better and better. You learn best from your mistakes, and I have made several along the way, but we've gotten better and better at kind of putting that information together and knowing what we need and what we want to look at and how we want to have that information in the report. Yeah. So, and it's been nice because I can actually look at, how many kids actually had passed all their classes and how many kids had, excellent attendance. And so I'm able to break down the data and what's the word, desegregate, make sure I can see all the different parts of it. So
yeah, that and PC, as I've heard you say that, how else can you track data? How else can you track growth and Renaissance? There's not great ways to do that, but using the card system, you can really track growth.
Absolutely. This card talk too, John, makes me think about down at Allen High School in Texas. It's in the Metroplex area. They have over 5,000 kids there, and this isn't really a Renaissance card, but it's their own school thing that they do. And so every student starts out and they have what they call a trust card. And so at this school, you can wear a hat, you can wear your hood up, you can eat outside. There's a lot of different perks that these kids get, and everybody starts out on the same level. And so if something happens though, and they violate that trust, their trust card gets taken away. And so they no longer have the trust card. And so then it might be for a day, it might be for 3 days, it might be for, like obviously it varies or whatever. But I just think that's a really cool concept too. Like I trust you until I don't, right? I respect you until I don't. And that's a Gary Vaynerchuk thing, because, sometimes people will say, well, you have to earn my trust. You have to earn my respect. Well, who am I to say that you have to earn something from me? Right? I trust you until I don't. I respect you until I don't. And I just love that. Made me think about those trust cards down there at Allen High School. It's a cool thing that they do down there.
We did just like you. We had used stickers. We actually had a parent in the district that had a printing company that loved it. He said, I'm going to print these as long as you ever do this, even if my kids are gone. He loved it. So he still prints them to this day. And we put them on the back of the IDs. It also helps encourage their use of their ID. That's what we thought. Liz Dalzell hand writes them. How about that? She put that.
Yeah, my hand hurts just thinking about that. Talk about the perks, Meg, that your kids get when they get a card. We had every teacher set their own in-classroom perks, but then my local business community helped us out a ton too. So they would get 10% off at the Mexican restaurant, 10% off at Sonic, 15% off at Walgreens. Like all these businesses would give them discounts when they showed their card. What kind of things do you guys do there?
So we have some in-class rewards and incentives, and we have some things that we do. I have a leadership class, so we have it during third block. So we're able to get out during lunch and recognize and reward the kids during that time. But we have in the classroom, we do I think there's a classwork homework pass. There's an extra credit thing. There's a teacher's choice, which allows the teachers some flexibility. That one is a little iffy because teachers they're not really sure what they're allowed to do. And when I have that conversation with them, I'm like, the whole idea is that that could be what you want it to be. So we have some teachers that make goodie bags and give those out to every kid that gets a bag tag. I've had a conversation with a kid before that, used up all of their classwork or homework passes in another class and wanted to know if I would allow an exception and let them use that teacher pass in my classroom. So it's a flexible reward for the teachers. But then we also have a treat day where we will give out something. We have cotton candy coming tomorrow or on Wednesday. And so we distribute free stuff for the kids, ice cream sandwiches, chips, snacks, drinks. As long as they have their bag tag, they come up, they can get that on whatever days we do that. We've been doing a delivery day. We tried that a couple, years back, and we didn't have a lot of success. So we've started trying that again. It's one of those things that you have to build up to. Kids coming into us with some Renaissance knowledge, I think that's helping because I'm starting to see more attention to that. But we partner with a local business and do a lunch order, and kids can order from off campus, and we basically just arrange it and make sure it shows up on time and deliver it to them. We are working on the business partner idea because we've really started to network with some businesses over the last year. And I think I have a really good group of adults that are on my fundraising team. And I think that that is probably our next step with that. I know our local Sonic at one point had talked about, if kids would wear red on when they come in on a certain day, if they were wearing their red on Fridays, they could get, a slushie or, discounted slushie or something like that. And I think that would be a great way to connect with the students in general, all of them, but even more perks with the bag tags.
Yeah, we did a business of the month. Every month was a different business where the kids could get a discount, and that also gave us an opportunity to promote that business in our building for that month. And it was a great partnership for sure.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. What would you say the biggest impact of a Renaissance card system is in your building?
I think just the spreading the academic celebration, the focus, the recognition on, just working hard and doing the right things. We've had several challenges over the last year, and we've changed a little bit of this or changed a little bit of that. And I think with the bag tags, it puts Renaissance in front of them all the time. So there's that conversation about how important that is, and being recognized and working hard and trying to achieve and improving. And I think that just keeping that in the front of their minds is really important. I've started to see a little bit of an incline in student academics. I keep talking about coming out of COVID, but I really think that was a huge shift for us in education, and I'm starting to see some improvement with that. And I think kids are a little bit, more focused on wanting to be present and do well in school. And so I think this just kind of keeps that Renaissance conversation going for us.
Yeah. PC, what was your favorite incentive at your school?
Oh man, we tied ours into athletics as well, John. And so 2 of our tiers got into athletic events for no charge, and then the other 2 tiers got in for half price. So obviously that ties in the school spirit and the support and all those kind of things in with it as well. And so that was super popular with the kids, because obviously they're saving, $5, $8, depending on which sport it is to go into every time they go to a game, and it takes away an excuse to not go to an event, right? Had a lot of kids that were socioeconomically disadvantaged. And so if you can take at least that barrier away, helps them to get a little bit more involved,
For sure. We had what we called a flex day for our top level, like almost a personal day for our top kids with parent permission. Obviously, we had kind of a structure to it. That was a super popular, and it doesn't cost a penny. It was awesome because those kids, they can afford a day off, And
I think that's one of the challenges when you're doing these cards is how do you reward them without breaking the bank? How do you like we've been doing this long enough that we've worked ourselves up to being able to provide ice cream sandwiches or cotton candy or whatever the treat is for the day. But like I remember when we didn't have all of that, and trying to come up with ways to recognize and reward without spending a lot of money. So I've been there.
Liz says she wants a flex day, and if she's handwriting all those cards, she's earned a flex
one. Yes.
You're talking about money, and so KJ has a question here. I don't know what's going to happen if I click on this, John, but I'm going to try it and see. Look at this.
Wow. Look at that.
High tech, man. He wants to know, does anyone's boosters or parent organizations help with funding for this? I'm curious what you have them pay for.
No, they don't. In fact, this year was our first year we started working with, we have a school improvement council. We don't have a parent, like that is our parent teacher association, but we started reaching out to them to help provide items for our rallies. And we hadn't done that before, and we've had great success. I was very grateful for what parents were willing to donate. So I highly recommend. We just did like a sign up genius and said, here are some of the things we would like to have. And parents were just dropping things off at the front office. So I think that's a great idea, that they could even donate items for the recognitions and things, rewards that you want to give out for the cards, or maybe even help pay for the cards. Like John said, if I could find a business or if a parent wanted to help sponsor that. Yeah.
We have someone must have missed your criteria. Could you do a quick overview of your criteria?
Yes. So we have behavior, attendance, and grades. And behavior, they are not able. So if they get ISS or OSS for any reason in the quarter, it kicks them out. Attendance, we base that on, so we're semester classes, and you're allowed to have 5 unexcused absences per semester. So for each quarter, we keep it at 2 unexcused per quarter. And then what I miss? Grades is based on an average. They have to have no Fs. And then their average is the determining factor for the levels. And the levels just have different, the black bag tag, might have more rewards on it than the other levels. So, and that is, as we talk through, Angela, I don't know if you were on here, we were talking about attendance has been the biggest challenge for us. And so we've, talked about how do we adjust that. I feel like if we can keep them at 2 per quarter, that keeps them on track for not FA in the class. But we've also tried to think of other ways we can recognize for attendance for the kids who don't necessarily get the bag tag.
And
so
Angela,
behavior, attendance, and grades.
Yeah. Angela, you may have missed this, but PC and I both talked about our buildings. We had improvement criteria, 0.5 GPA. We were a trimester school, trimester over trimester. I think you see a lot of schools try and build in an improvement criteria. So, Meg, we want to keep this a little bit shorter, but could you spend? PC and I and our Renaissance team has always talked about how do we bring this to this century? With an app of some sort. You've kind of done that, but you've had some challenges with it. Can you just tell your story a little bit?
I haven't actually been able to implement that. And I actually, I'm going to give all the credit to Somerville High School for coming up with the app idea. But we had intentions to incorporate a spirit app that Somerville created. They let us kind of pilot with them last year. And we had it all laid out so that kids could earn points, similar to what, PC was saying earlier about there were athletic rewards. There were going to be like merch and, VTW that they could get, tying that in with also you would get points if you got your bag tags at different levels. And you could redeem all of the items on redemption days. We were going to have redemption days, and then they could come and they could get all the things that they wanted to redeem their points for. And so, yes, there are apps out there. There are apps being developed. I think it would be a great move into this century. Like you said, I think it is very much a digital age. And so being able to kind of connect that and make it digital, I think would be really fun for the kids too. I think that, that's I can't tell you how many kids lose the bag tag the day they get it, it's just hard for them, and their phones are always with them. So if there was a way to keep that going digitally, I think it would be great. And we did have that almost ready to roll out, but then the state changed to a no phones in school. They passed that law, so we don't have phones in our schools anymore. And so that made it a big challenge. The district did give me sort of an option to use the platform that we have for grading, but it wasn't quite what we wanted. And so we just haven't found that perfect blend yet with the new changes. So still working on that.
Great.
But there are apps out there, and I will give a shout out, like I said, to Somerville High School. Teal Miller is fantastic for letting us pilot with them, because they've come up with a really cool thing.
And I think when I've talked to her, she's willing to share that information, isn't she? If anybody wanted to reach out to Teal.
Yeah, she presented in Florida last year about that app. So yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Meg. I do want to mention, the Renaissance card strategy is a requirement for platinum level school distinction. So if you have schools out there that are looking for platinum, make sure to share this happy hour on-demand video with them. And Steph Jess is talking about PBIS rewards. They use that app as well. I've heard that quite a bit. Liz Dalzell talked about they could take a picture. There we go. Take a picture of her handwritten card and use that. So there's a lot of ideas out there. Yeah, if you have questions about this, if you're platinum level, you really need to start in the fall with a Renaissance card system. So Meg, I'm guessing you'd answer questions if anybody had questions.
I can, and I would just encourage anybody that's wanting to get started with this to remember that it could really look like whatever you want it to look like. That's the beauty of Renaissance to me in any school, is that it is tailor-made for your school. So your cards don't have to look just like mine. They don't have to be laid out just like mine. They can have different requirements. It could be, completely different. But just giving the kids something, that tiered level kind of incentive that they can work towards, I think is very helpful for getting that, especially the improvement piece that you talked about. I would like to see us try to figure a way to do that as well.
It's cool. That's for sure. Mm-hmm. Well, PC, do you want to wrap us up? I think we want to bring this to a close. And I do want to encourage the people that are on here today, share it with your colleagues, share it with your champs. If you're out there, share it with your region. This is great information. Meg's a rock star. We love her. Thank you so much for sharing. PC, why don't you wrap us up?
Yeah, and one more quick question, John, from Angela here. Do you have shareable resources surrounding this on the website?
I mean, I have resources I can share, but I think there are also I think they're called honor cards, or at least one time they were called honor cards. So you can find some honor card information on the website. But I also have, the PowerPoint presentation that I share with our teachers that has all the information in one place that I would be happy to share as well.
Yeah, we do. If you go to the Jostens Renaissance website, jostensrenaissance.com, where you would find it is under academic achievement, under the resources by need. And if you go down there, there's a link to a whole resource on Renaissance cards, how different samples, incentives, different how people organize them. So there's a ton of information. Or reach out to our team. We'll be glad to talk to anybody that wants to start this.
Yeah, happy to share. I've got several different examples of cards from different schools, obviously from Portland, but then from LaSalle, Peru, and some other places too. That I'm happy to share. And just real quick, John, a lot of people were talking about money and how do you raise money? Yeah. The biggest thing that we ever did, the biggest key that I figured out finally was we did a business appreciation luncheon. Obviously, it could be a breakfast or a luncheon, whichever. And we sent out formal invitations to every business, within a 10-mile radius of the community. And I would speak for 3 minutes, do a brief intro, and then my kids did the rest. And they would talk to them about Renaissance and all the great things that are happening on our campus. They would give a tour of the school and showcase everything, the machine shop kids, the dance team, the special needs classroom, all those things. And then we had different sponsorship/partnership levels. We called them partnerships because we would do marketing in turn for them in exchange for whatever donation level they made. We would raise between $15,000 and $20,000 in Portland, Tennessee. It is a beer and cigs. It is a podunk community. And so if you can do that at Portland High School, you can do it pretty much anywhere. And so again, if you'd like more information on that, I'm happy to share that. But getting those business people on your campus so that they can see in person the great things that are happening there, because if they don't have a kid that goes to school there, all that they know is the stereotype of the school and the community. And so often, so many times, for whatever reason, that's not great. And so we've got to be intentional about getting those business people on our campuses so that we can get them involved and get them to be able to support our school, and specifically to support Renaissance, because that's something that supports every single student, not just the baseball team, not just the football team, not just the fill in the blank, right? It's supporting every student and every faculty member. And I think you can explain that to them. It makes it much more likely they're going to get involved and support you from a financial aspect.
Awesome. Great. Why don't you wrap us up, Doctor?
All right, man. Hey, well, thanks again, Meg. I sure do appreciate you and everything that you do, and listen to the impact that you make. Can't wait to see you here. And I don't even know how many weeks it is, maybe 7-ish weeks, I think, in San Diego at JRGC. I know we're going to see so many of these amazing people that have chimed in the chat here as well out in San Diego. If you haven't registered yet, jostensrenaissance.com. We've still got space for some more folks to join us out there. Looking forward to that. Incredible speakers, incredible breakout presenters, incredible student leaders. And it just refills your tank, refills your heart, reminds you of why you do what you do, and gets you ready for that next school year. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks again to Meg. You're a rock star. Thanks again to my guy, John Rowe, man, for making it all happen, man. You guys are awesome. Chase your dreams, y'all.
Bye, guys.
Good night, everyone.